It's 2 p.m. Detroit, and you know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Welcome in on a beautiful week. It's a lot of information to cover through Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni here, Tom Mazaway, Ricky Burns, Pete Spivak, all join us in the studio for a dynamic day. But first, Ryan Ermanni, good to have you back, brother.
Oh, feeling good on a Monday.
It's a Monday.
Goodness. I like this, Braylon.
It's like WWE.
I like this. Are you kidding me?
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to keep in practice.
Absolutely.
It's good vibes, good energy. You want to keep in practice,
Get it
man.
going.
How was your week? I know you and Lukey did the guys.
We had a guys' weekend.
Nice.
Okay.
Guys' weekend.
Nice.
And we did bike rides and walks, and we had movie nights and all kinds of good stuff. My kid hates sports.
You watch Lilo and Stitch?
No.
That's been on day.
We
is a
bought
classic.
tickets,
Yeah.
and then he's like, I don't want to go.
Oh.
I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to go? It's
Oh,
like, I'd
geez.
just rather do a movie night here with you, Dad.
Oh, there you go. That's
So
nice.
we did
I'm not
that.
mad at
He doesn't understand money yet, right?
Yeah.
He does not at
Yeah.
all. He does not at all.
He does
But
not.
he does like the Sandlot. So our movie night
Good.
was the Sandlot.
Can't
There
beat
you
that.
go.
Come on, man.
Killing me,
100%.
That's a good compromise.
The Great Hambino. Speaking of Great Hambino, check this out. A lot happened in the world of sports over the weekend. Kyle Kirkwood wins the Grand Prix. Scotty Scheffler proves he's still the greatest golfer on the planet. A lot happened, but today, Ryan, let's not waste any time. Let's dive into it. You know why the people they came. Frank Ragnow, center for the Detroit Lions, has hung up the cleats. He's calling
Lions
it. Ryan,
fans.
first thoughts.
First of all, shock.
Yeah.
I was stunned, and I shouldn't have been. He announced on his Instagram page, this is what he said: the past couple of months have been very trying as I come to the realization that my football journey is ending and I'm officially retiring from the NFL. I've tried to convince myself that I'm feeling good, but I'm not, and it's time to prioritize my health and my family's future. I have given this team everything I have and thought I had more to give, but the reality is simply I don't. I have to listen to my body, and this has been one of the hardest decisions of my life. The Lions organization has been absolutely incredible throughout this entire process, and I can't emphasize this enough, how grateful I am for this team and all the fans. It was an absolute honor going to battle for you all. Before we discuss all of this, can we just go around the room? Initial reaction to hearing the news. For me, it was shock, although it shouldn't have been. Braylon?
Expected it. Just thinking back to the time last year that he, not this past season, the season where 2 years ago, all the injuries he dealt with that season, and then almost retiring before starting this past football season. We had to be honest with ourselves and knew that it was on the table potentially. So I think because of how that played out, the last off season where we looked up Maz and he was talking about he almost retired. None of us knew about that. None of us heard about that. But I kept that in my membrane. So hearing the news, it was like, damn. But I wasn't surprised.
Maz?
First thing, of course, I'm skeptic. You know me.
Yeah.
I remember last year when he came out and he said, I'm not retiring. I'm playing. I feel this is the best I've ever felt in a long time. And then just a few days ago in May was only a couple days ago, he mentioned that he was not happy with his current contract. So when I heard he retired today, I said, man, I hope it's just a ploy. But I don't think it is. And I think the Lions had known about this, that it was coming, that it was a good possibility, that he was going to call it off. And they went out and drafted his replacement in Tate Ratledge. And I know that kid wasn't a full-time center with Georgia, but I believe he's cut from the same mold as Frank Ragnow. We're going to miss the hell out of this guy. But I don't think the Lions are surprised.
Pete?
Tell you what, I wasn't shocked because he's been battling injuries. He's getting up there, but I'm shocked of the position because he's the center, and there's no better relationship that a quarterback has than with his center. And it's so important to get the right guy in for the cadence thing now. That is huge. Cadence is everything when you're running the offense, especially the offense the Lions are going to be running. So Tate Ratledge. 2 words I said immediately when that happened was just Tate Ratledge.
Ricky?
Shocked but not surprised. Like, it was at first I was like, oh no, but I thought about, like, yeah, they did mention that Tate played a little center. He was getting a little older, a lot of injuries. I was riding in the car, I got the announcement, and I'm just kind of like, this makes sense. I'm not really mad at it. We've already been working on the line, so shocked but not surprised was my reaction.
Matt, here's a quick one. Before we dive into what this means for the Lions and what side are you, do you feel like this lessens the chance and all that good stuff? Barry Sanders faxed in his retirement after 10 seasons with the Detroit Lions. Frank Ragnow, he posts on Instagram. What's the difference between the two realistically? Because a lot of people have Frank Ragnow's back. Meanwhile, people still hate Barry Sanders.
Barry did it on the eve of training camp at Saginaw Valley State. This guy is doing it on June 2nd. That's the major difference. And I'm pretty sure he told them, this is what I'm doing. Guys, I'm surprised that they didn't draft a full-fledged center. But knowing these guys, Brad Holmes said, that kid's a center. If you remember, when they took Frank Ragnow, I think he played 2 positions as well at Arkansas, and they made him into a center. And I believe that this Ratledge kid is the answer. And, of course, Graham Glasgow is there as well. It sucks. Yeah. It really does. I hope he changes his mind and plays one more year.
Well, I don't think he's going to change his mind. And, Braylon, just to answer your question first and foremost, if it was Lomas Brown instead of Barry Sanders, it probably wouldn't have had as much hate as it did at the time. If this is Jared Goff who's doing this instead of Frank Ragnow, it probably doesn't. You're probably not having a love fest like you are right now. At the same time, with Ragnow, just to back it up my morning a little bit. So on Thursday, Frank Ragnow is having his skeet shooting, his 3rd annual skeet shooting event for his Rags Remembered Foundation. It's a charity event to support his foundation. I believe his foundation, if memory serves correct, serves children who lost a parent at a young age. I was in the process of doing my Fox 2 stuff there Thursday, and 30 minutes before this news broke, I was on the phone with Stick here at Woodward Sports. Hey, what are the odds of doing our show on Thursday from Frank Ragnow's event?
Hey.
I'm supposed to be there. I got a couple of scheduling things. Could we do our show from Frank's event in Lake Orion on Thursday? I think it'd be great. There could be a bunch of Lions there. It'd be a great event. Stick says, yeah, let me see if I can work a few things out, but we should be okay to do that. 30 minutes after I got off the phone with him, Frank Ragnow retires. Okay, even better. Stick, now we got a broadcast
now we got
from there, right? Get an email almost immediately thereafter.
Canceled.
The event is still happening, but no media.
No media, yeah.
Of course, still invited to shoot and enjoy the event, but we ask that you refrain from bringing a crew, cameraman. I appreciate you understanding, and we'll reach out in the future.
He doesn't
with
want the
Frank
distraction.
and the foundation.
Yeah.
No, and I kind of don't understand. I mean, I get it, but I kind of don't, because everybody wants it. But it just goes to show you what kind of guy Frank is. He is just one of the guys. He's not going to have some big press conference. Everybody wants to interview him. He's just not going to do that. He's going to send in the Barry Sanders fax. The fax machine in 2025 is your Instagram page or your social media of your choosing, and that's how it's going to be. Look, Frank Ragnow is a warrior. If Frank Ragnow could play to the all-pro level that he has been able to play for his entire career, he would be on the field. And Braylon, you know this better than anybody. Frank Ragnow cannot play. He cannot play. He cannot put his body through what the body has to be put through in order to play an NFL season. The 17 games, everything that leads up to playing those 17 games, he just can't physically do it anymore. If there's anybody that could, it's him. And I think this just speaks to who he is.
Look, offensive line position, from the time that I was in high school to college to the NFL, they are the warriors of the warrior. Like, they will play through whatever pain they can. I've told you the story about Ryan Tucker, who was the left tackle or the right tackle for the Cleveland Browns when I played there. He played with two cracks in his neck, herniated disc, the whole 9 yards. So if they can, they will. But we've seen Frank Ragnow's body now befall him over the last 2-3 seasons. There's been something every single season. Hell, 2.5 years, they almost cut his toe off.
Yeah.
2.5 years ago.
He's got nerve damage in that.
100%. And this is something that was very real 2 years ago. Now you're talking about potentially going into this 3 years later. So respect for the legend. But I would be lying. I would be lying if I said, oh, it's just the next man up. Two things can be true in this situation. I believe thing one, I believe they're prepared for this. Like you said, Christian Mahogany, the pick of him last year, becomes even more important. I believe conversations were had with Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, as well as Hank Fraley when Tate Ratledge was in that room. Hey, look, can you play center? How are you at center? We want to rely more on you than center. We're thinking center more than guard. These are conversations that were had, and I'm pretty sure they got the answers out of him that they believed in. So they are prepared. That's one thing. But two things can be true, as you know, who says it's still going to be a serious issue for the Lions in the first half of the season. You talk about cadence, you talk about consistency and rhythm. The Lions offense has been able to be consistent over the past 4 years. The offensive line has pretty much been the same. Frank Ragnow is the beast and the catalyst. Penei Sewell is our best player, but Frank Ragnow is the captain. He's the leader. He's seeing the blitzes. As Pete told you, he's keeping the cadence. He's keeping the rhythm of the offensive line. He's keeping Jared Goff at bay. Now you take Frank Ragnow from Jared Goff. You take Ben Johnson from Jared Goff. All you Lions fans that anything you say, they're always going to be fine. You're right. The Lions will eventually adapt. They eventually will be fine. But the first half of the season, it's going to be an interesting one. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
Go back to that sheet real quick.
back.
You got it, buddy. I was waiting for
You just said, Braylon Edwards, you just said, if you think it's next man up with Frank Ragnow,
It's not.
we got news to talk about. Look at these grades. Number 1 in run blocking, number 2 overall graded center last year.
Crazy.
In 2023, number 1 run blocking center in 2023, number 1 graded overall center in 2023. For the last 2 years specifically, when the Lions have won back-to-back division championships, made it all the way to an NFC championship game, and you know the history from there, they had the best center in the league. And I will go a step further, gentlemen. Name me, Penei Sewell notwithstanding, he's on the team. Name me a better offensive lineman since Lomas Brown was on this team back in 85 to 95. In the last 30 seasons, who is a better offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions than Frank Ragnow? I'm giving you 30 seasons. Those guys don't fall off trees.
They don't fall off trees too, Ryan and Mike. Like 2 years ago when Frank was missing games because of the toe, he'd miss a game here, he would come back and play. Just dominant. You saw the difference when he was on the field. So for us to know how good Frank has been in his last 3 years, for us to talk about him, they were the catalyst. That offensive line is led by Frank. For us just to say, oh, okay, cool, you know, we drafted Tate Ratledge, he's going to be the guy. Now, look, maybe eventually down the line, but I'm just telling you right now, that type of consistency that Jared Goff, number 16, has been used to for the last 4 going on 5 years starts at the center position, and it's a damn good one in Frank Ragnow. So losing him, it is going to be an interesting first half of the season just from the cadence, the offensive line standpoint. What does that leadership role look like now?
Hey, listen, guys. I thought I saw a stat. Over 5,000 snaps, or how many snaps? He's given up 5 sacks.
Wow.
5 sacks.
Wow.
Jesus.
So he's the gold standard of centers. And maybe Dominic Raiola, not as good as him, but solid. Ry, you asked. I'll give you Dom. Dom was pretty good offensive lineman, pretty good center. So since Dom passed the baton to him, now Frank is going to pass the baton to the next guy. And we don't know exactly who it is. They have been giving Tate Ratledge most of the OTAs, most of the first team snaps in these OTAs. So they knew this was going to happen, or at least it had a chance to happen. Earlier today, Kirby Joseph goes on his Instagram. Matter of fact, he answered a question from us here at Woodward Sports. Check it out.
What are your thoughts on Frank Kerr? Yes, sir. Woodward Sports trying to make this an article. I think Frank is an amazing human being, bro, and I feel like we should all be like Frank. That's what I think. So put that in your.
There you go, Kirby Joseph.
Frank Ragnow, definitely a leader, definitely the leader in that locker room, definitely a leader on the offensive line. You know, that part will be missed, but let's just cover on the field. You know, this changes the comfortability at which Jared Goff plays in the pocket. Eventually it can get back to that. Maybe it's Glasgow, maybe it's Tate Ratledge. Eventually it can get back to that. But just the comfortability, when you're Jared Goff, all you do is set hut. You don't have to worry about the right side. You don't have to worry about the middle. And because of Taylor Decker aging a little bit over the last year or so, you just glance to the left more so than that. Now you got to worry about up the middle. Now you got to worry about to the left as well. It's going to be interesting, man.
Hey, it frees up 13, almost 14 million.
Oh, Anson's
the cap.
fired up. Anson
This
is
year.
fired up in the chat.
So I don't know what you
Anson
do with
says,
that money.
Maz, you should be talking about that 14 million that's going to open up.
I was actually going to say that before he wrote it. But
I know.
I'll give you there you go, Anson.
Love it.
You
Shout
got
out.
it. Let Anson cook.
On the other side, too, this isn't uncharted territory. One of the best centers, arguably the greatest center in the modern era, the last 25 years, is who? It's Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
He retired last year. His replacement, Cam Jurgens. Last time I checked, he's a Super Bowl winner. So it's not uncharted territory to get back to. We're just simply saying in the interim process, it's going to be an interesting one because now more pressure is going to be on Jared Goff. It was already more pressure going to be on him because of this being his offense. Now he has to worry about the offensive line and making sure that insert center here is correct before each play. It's going to be a lot for Jared Goff in the beginning.
What are we worried about more now? Defensive line or offensive line?
Offensive line.
Well, it's a great question because we worry as fans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're inherent
Now what are we
worriers,
gonna do?
right? We're inherent worriers.
There's
and,
two answers to that.
And look, Braylon, I love you say this all the time, and I think this applies for this situation as well. Both things can be true. One, I think the Lions are going to be fine, but don't minimize the loss of Frank Ragnow.
Yes.
This is an enormous loss for the Detroit Lions.
And the running backs.
Because I always say,
What
is your calling card for the Detroit Lions? What has been the calling card for this franchise been for the last really 4 or 5 years? Offense and offensive line, really. They want to be good in the trenches.
Yeah.
When Dan Campbell came on, good in the trenches. When Brad Holmes came on, good in the trenches. And that's how they've drafted, and that's how they've attacked each lineup. And that's fantastic. This weakens them a little bit. But just because this weakens them doesn't mean they are weak. Does that make sense? Because they are weaker than they were yesterday doesn't mean they are weak. It is still an absolute strength for this football team. It's just not as much of a strength.
It is, but I'm nervous. I think they will figure it out. I'm giving Dan Campbell that credit. I'm giving Brad Holmes that credit. I'm giving this team that credit, so relax. But you know what we didn't even think about when this happened, Maz? Who is no longer at right guard this season for the Detroit Lions? Although 1 year, Kevin Zeitler was phenomenal last year.
Yeah, I would love to have him back now.
He was top 3 right guard in the league last year. And when he was in the game, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs love going off his side to that right side. So now you're missing Kevin Zeitler, and then right next to him you're missing Frank Ragnow. Like, I don't care how you slice it. These are 2 major losses considering what the ground game was last year. Last year, the ground game was automatic. We knew Dave Montgomery is in there. He's going to pound you for 90 yards. We know Jahmyr getting in there. Jahmyr find his way to 170 total offense. What does that look like without Zeitler as well as Frank Ragnow? Because Glasgow last year struggled a little bit when he replaced Kevin Zeitler at times. So this is a real concern for right now. But the good news is it's June 2nd.
It is June 2nd, and we could talk about who we think the interior of the offensive line is going to be. It's going to be all new, right? Zeitler not here. Ragnow not here.
Right.
Glasgow, maybe what position is he going to play? Is he going to play center?
He's on his last leg.
You know, is Glasgow going to be the center of this football team? And then Ratledge plays, right guard or one of the guard positions. Is that a possibility? It is definitely intriguing to think about. And another thought that initially jumped off the page at me
2 years ago.
when I heard this news was, guys, this is why you have to take advantage of every single opportunity that you have, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You just have no idea. And it's a metaphor for life, too, not just football. You cannot worry about tomorrow. You have to take care of today. Do the best you can today. Accomplish what you can accomplish today. And 2 years ago, they blew it. They blew an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. They blew an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. And last year was last year, where they didn't even win a playoff game. Now, I'm not freaking out saying that I think they're not going to win the Super Bowl, because I do. I do believe they're going to go, compete, and play for and win a Super Bowl this year, because I just don't think there's a team in the NFL that I look around and say they're that much better than the Detroit Lions. So the goals are still the goals. My belief in this team is still my belief in this team. But the second thought I had on Ragnow, besides holy crap, wow, was, man, they blew it 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, that literally is where it should go. That for however you feel about that conversation, that's where it should go. When you're in those moments, you just never know if you're going to get back. And then each year, things happen. Last year, a ton of injuries. This year, Frank retires. Maz, I'm going to ask you, since you brought up Super Bowl, Ryan Ermanni, Frank Ragnow retiring. Now, where are your Lions? Like, where are you at with the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl this year? Where are you at with that? Has it changed with this? Obviously.
Do you think Vegas knew of this ahead of time because they marked them so low? They took a 15-win team and said 10.5. It's remarkable. So I do believe my 14 wins, my 13 wins that I originally thought, maybe we shave a game or two off of that. I do believe the healthiest team wins the Super Bowl, because the top 5 teams are pretty much talented. They're very talented, the top 5 teams. Lions probably have a lot more talent on offense. Other teams might have more on defense. I do believe the Lions will still contend for a Super Bowl. But, man, I wish the draft was coming up next week instead of it was a month ago, because I think they would have drafted differently.
That was one of my questions about the Barry Sanders deal, and people saying, well, it's still a lot of time. Like, yeah, he still waits till after the draft, and maybe that's why they drafted Tate Rowledge in the second round. But if you're going to retire, it should have been already. Where are you at with the Super Bowl deal? Because I'll give you mine after.
The Super Bowl in
terms of where the Lions are, where are you with the comfortability?
I think they're still. I think if you put teams in tiers, they're in that top tier.
Okay.
Like, forget about ranking first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Forget about all that. If you just go tier 1, these teams will absolutely be able to compete for a Super Bowl. They are in that tier. Now, there might be 4 or 5 teams, 5 teams in that tier. Maybe you go Philadelphia, Detroit, Buffalo, Baltimore, and who else? Kansas City? Are they in that tier this year? I don't know.
I still put them in there only because of their quarterback.
So there's 5 teams. They're in tier 1. Tier 2, who's in that one? I mean, maybe that's an exercise that we can do later in the week. But that before Frank Ragnow retired, they were tier 1. After Frank Ragnow retires, they're in tier 1.
I agree.
Now, just second point, if I could, Braylon.
Yeah, please.
I think they absolutely. This is one of the differences in the organizations between now and Barry Sanders when he did it. I think it totally took the Detroit Lions off guard when Barry Sanders retired.
No doubt.
Completely out of left field, wasn't even a thought.
Yeah.
I think this was a thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
Because I think they knew every single step of the way. If you put his statement back up, there's a line in there that I don't think he says
the Lions,
unless the Lions ultimately gave them and him the time and the respect. At the bottom here, the Lions organization has been absolutely incredible throughout this process. What's that tell you? This has been a process. There's been an open dialogue. Yeah. Both sides have been sharing, hey, we got to do this. Where's your time on this? And ultimately, I think the player waited as long as he could up until training camp or up until he felt and we're months away from training camp. Well, I guess a month away, 2 months away, the middle of July, month and a half away from training camp. They start earlier because of the Hall of Fame game. I think ultimately it was, I want to wait to see how my body reacts as we get close to camp, and it just wasn't healthy enough to go.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. You know, it's definitely a team that they want to work with you, they want to talk, and they have the conversations. Look, as long as you're open with us, we'll be open with you. My issue with the beginning of the season for this Lions team, now with no Frank Ragnow and remembering that Kevin Zeiler is no longer that right guard, it's just this, look at how you start the season. I'm scared the Lions get in the hole early, and now the last second half of the season, or the last 9 games of the season, or the last 10, they're in dogfights because of the position of the first one. Green Bay Packers is who they open against. The Detroit line, the line of the Bears, that defensive line for the Bears. Ravens, the third game, the defensive line for the Ravens. The Browns, Myles Garrett on that defensive line. Then the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson. These are just the defensive lines that this offensive line will have to go against. Then the Chiefs and Chris Jones, and don't sleep on the Bucs, whose defensive line is one of the best in the business. This is why we always lost to them 2 years ago in the playoff. So for me, I'm nervous about the start of the season. That is a lot of mean defensive lines that you are going to have to go up against, that they smell blood in the water. When you know you got to go against a Frank Ragnow or Jason Kelsey, it's a little bit different week. When you got a Kevin Zeiler, when you got Penei Sewell, healthy Taylor Decker, it's a different energy. When you smell a little blood in the water, we got a rookie, or we have a guy that's not nearly as good as Frank Ragnow, or that big guy at right guard, yeah, he's no Kevin Zeiler. These defensive lines are going to smell blood in the water. I don't want the Lions to now get off to a 2-4 start.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
No doubt. Guys, more on this. We could read some of your chats as well, but big news today. Lions center Frank Ragnow saying he is retiring from the NFL at 29 years old, and we are seeing more and more people retire at a young age. Braylon, I want you to speak to this, because is this the money? Is this the amount of pressure that is put on these guys at such a young age where they play so much football? Why are we seeing these guys retire before the age of 30 who are playing at the highest level? We'll get to that and so much more, but first a message from Buddy's Pizza. Buddy's Pizza, been serving the original Detroit-style pizza since 1946. 79 years later, they have 22 locations in the state of Michigan, and fans can still visit where it all began on the corner of 6 Mile and Conant. Sign up for Buddy's Rewards and earn points on every purchase and receive exclusive promotions. Download the Buddy's Pizza mobile app and start earning today. Add some Detroit style to your next meal. Save 10% off your entire order by using promo code 10MEAL. That's the number 10, MEAL. Buddy'sPizza.com, Buddy'sPizza.com.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak? Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Belegian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media: X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Justice. It means different things to different people. But getting justice isn't just a legal process, it's a healing because of you.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The boys of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone. Boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports.
Hey, attention sports fans, that's you guys out there. Do not miss our expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. He joins us on Woodward Sports every Tuesday on Big D Energy. Joins us on the big show here on Thursdays. Trust the guy that D-Mac and Braylon, even I trust, because, I go to him twice a week to see my girls for some physical therapy on my elbows, and they are terrific. So you could be any schlub off the street and get to Michigan Sports and Spine in Livonia. Check them out right now, michigansportsandspine.com, or call 248-426-9944. Dr. Jeff Pierce, tell them the guys from Woodward sent you.
Last time I checked, the Detroit Tigers are still floating around as the hottest team in baseball, just as it relates to the record. So why don't you come join us in celebrating this team and watching these games. Nemo's, June 13th. The White Claw Tiger Tour will continue. Come on down, man. Woodward Sports, the guys will be in the building. Whether it's the heavyweights, whether it's us, come on down. White Claw is in the building. We're cracking. It's going to be a great job. You saw what Terry Scuba did. Was continuing to do. My God, you want to do that in person? Let's do it, man. Come on down. Ben Johnson Law, as well as East Town Distributors. Also, there is June 19th, the second best, and then there's June 29th at the Old Miami White Claw Tigers Tour. Come join us.
Dante151 says, great. Now I have to watch preseason games just to see how the rookies look.
That's real.
Greg, 77, Lion, 77, Decker, Ragnow. Lions fans love you. Wish you the best. Craig says, running back rankings are heavily affected by how good the offensive line is. But Braylon, we are seeing younger and younger players retire. 29 years old for Big Frank. Is it the money? Is it the pounding? Is it the buildup of what these guys accumulate over the years on their body? Why do we see this? It's like this would have been above the fold national news if a 29-year-old retired from the NFL at the height of his playing days, probably 10 or 15 years ago. Now it's like, yeah, we get it. Happens all the time now.
I think it's a mixture of everything that you brought up. I think coaches, GMs, the teams, they're trying to get players in and out faster. The deals are a lot shorter than they used to. Hell, when I got drafted, my deal was 7 years with an option 6. So that's what the deals were. And back then, guys weren't making a ton of money. You mix in GMs and coaches wanting to get to the younger players and wanting to keep the team young. Pete Carroll is the first guy that I saw do that. I told you a story. When I was there, Pete looked at me like a dinosaur, and I was only in year 8. Sidney Rice was in year 5, and he was like, not too many more left than you as well. So that's kind of mentality. You want to keep it young, keep it fast, keep it energetic. The older you get, the more injuries you have. You look at Frank. You look at these other ones. Luke Kuechly and Patrick Willis were the first 2 players that I kind of paid attention to that were young. Luke Kuechly retired at 28. Patrick Willis retired at 29. That seems to be the age. A lot of linebacker hits. Linebackers, a lot of those hits to the head, the shoulders, the lower back, things of that nature. Offensive line. Jason Kelsey told us that last year. He said, my back, they're just done. It just is what it is. So,
a couple of people in the chat also have pointed out that the Eagles did win a Super Bowl when Jason Kelsey retired. Mm-hmm. They won one with him too, obviously. But
I said that when I was doing some. Cam Jurgens replaced him last year. Definitely. And then also too, there's so much more money available for players in whatever capacity. Whether you want to do influencer deals, the guys are meeting companies all the time. When you play for the Lions or play for the Eagles or play for insert team here, they want to do things and they want you to be the face of it. So there's a lot of money out there. Guys don't have to play until they can no longer walk to keep being able to pay their bills. Guys make a lot of money early on in his life, and there's a lot left for them after football now. So it's a smart thing to do.
That's why guys like another one of our favorites, Alex Anzalone, he might not get his deal, And the reason being is if they can let Frank Ragnow walk out the door, and I still believe this, if they would renegotiate his contract, maybe some guaranteed money, maybe he sticks around for another year or two. I could be wrong.
You could be right. I'm not going to say I hate that take.
Yeah. But I'm going to say this. I don't think.
We don't know.
Now I don't think they sign Alex Anzalone. I believe what Braylon and you were just talking about. To them, it's not personal. It's just business, right? And The Godfather. It's not personal. Sonny, it's just business.
Would he be the first one, the first player?
Domino?
Well, Domino, but again, the first player that you love. We've seen players come and go, and roster, but
and this new
Lions
team,
fans absolutely love him. I mean, Calvin Shepard loves him.
Saw him Sunday.
Really?
At the Grand Prix.
Everybody seems to love Alex Anzalone. Why wouldn't he be back? That's the first kind of guy that we see when you look at a contract, you start looking down the road. Does this number, I'm not even going to say this player because they love the player. Does this number fit into our box? Can we get this contract within our roof, under our roof? And the answer might be no, and he'd be the first guy that would happen to, the first domino, as you say.
Yeah, if there's a way to, obviously there's more money just freed up now with this news today, but if there's a way to construct a deal that is favorable for the Lions as well as Axel Anzalone, then you pull the trigger. You keep him around. I love the identity. I love what he was when he got here versus what he is now. But at the same time, not everybody is supposed to go to every floor with you, and it sucks. It sucks that Frank Ragnow won't win the Super Bowl if the Lions win this year. It sucks if Alex Anzalone isn't here and they win the Super Bowl because he was definitely a part of the change that we needed to get here. But at the same time, this is where the Lions now are. They are in a space where they have to make critical decisions about the future. And as much as we love what Alex Anzalone has done, myself included, because I was not a fan early on, we're trying to win Super Bowls, and even he has to understand that if it doesn't go that way.
Look at the guys that got to pay coming up. It's the guys they drafted. Yeah. It's the guys this regime has drafted. Started with Jahmyr Gibbs. Then you got J-Mo. You got Hutch. You got Brian Branch. You got Sam Laporta. You got Jack Campbell eventually. That's a lot of players. And Anson brought it up on Friday. We're not going to be able to sign them all. Remember, he was on the phone with you, right?
Yep.
We're not going to be able to sign them all. It's impossible to sign all those players unless they start penny pinching the older guys, the older regime.
You want to do that.
And guys that are coming here are playing for, pennies on the dollar. Guys like Marcus Davenport. Pennies on the dollar if Zadarius Smith comes back. They're all cheap deals. They're show-me deals. They're saving their money for the kids they drafted.
I have to find this stat, but I think I'm pretty close on this. I hesitate to say it because I think it's true. 70% of the NFL players are on one-year deals. 70%.
Yeah.
So if you look at the Lions,
it's
probably around there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not any different. Now, it's shocking to even think like that this is a year-to-year league, but this literally is a year-to-year league. And perhaps no bigger sport in the country is more of a year-to-year league than the NFL because of how physical it is, the toll it takes on your bodies. I mean, Braylon, you played 9 years in the league and 4 years of big-time college football. I mean, you feel that when you wake up today as a 42-year-old man. I was going to say 41.
I appreciate you. I love you for that reason. But you're absolutely right. And Maz, and this is why you asked the point about Frank. Like, if they give him a deal, I disagree. He's married. He and his wife have a child. Like, you're thinking about the quality of life. One of the things Jim Brown told me, he was like, get out before it's too late. Jim Brown used to be a liaison when I was with the Cleveland Browns. Shout out to Iris, the GOAT. But this was Jim Brown. Hey, where you at? Hey, you over here? What's going on, Braylon? And then when he's walking, he's got the head down. He's slow. Yep. OJ had the same thing. Like, that's the old school. Yeah. Guys want to be able to lift their kids up. Guys want to be able to go on golf trips. Guys want to teach their kids or their daughters how to play tennis or all the things or work out, and lose that weight. Guys want that quality of life. I golfed today after working out. Like, yeah, my back was tight, my elbow was tight, shoulder. There's a little bit of some rotator cuffs things in there, and this was only 8 years in. And this was a wide receiver. I can only imagine what Frank Ragnow's body feels like.
But don't forget the old school guys.
Yeah.
They didn't make this kind of money.
But that's why I said it.
Yeah.
Frank Ragnow's made some good money. He's made some good partnerships. He's definitely seems like a quiet, silent. I'm putting everybody in the front office with the Lions. That just seems to be my natural. I said the same thing about Anzalone. I think that's where the natural progression is these days. You can get to that front office, but you just want to wake up and put your feet down on the ground and not have to worry about, damn, how's this going to feel
Maybe
today?
they take some of that $13 million and maybe they kick a little to Anzalone. He might have saved Anzalone's job here. It might. He might have.
Do you think this in any way? I'm just gonna toss it out there. As like this happened about an hour and a half ago. I haven't seen that, and I don't care about the salary cap, even though people say I'm crazy. I think in the NFL, you make it work.
Yeah,
right.
Eventually, you'll pay the piper.
Right. Eventually, you'll pay the piper.
Yeah.
And if you win a Super Bowl, I don't
cares?
care. Fine. I'd rather, instead of being good for 10 years, let me just ask fans this.
Again.
Would you rather be good for 10 years? Maybe have a San Francisco 49ers run.
2 Super Bowls.
Where you go to 2 Super Bowls, you lose them. You go to 6 NFC championship games, you win a couple, you lose a couple. Would you have that 6-year stretch and be okay, in the other years? Or would you rather win a Super Bowl and kind of suck for a decade?
I'm taking that Super Bowl.
Yes.
I'm taking that Super Bowl.
So am I.
Yeah, I'm taking the SB.
It would be nice to be NFC championship bound almost every year as well and make 2 or 3 Super Bowls. Hell, I just want to make 1.
So
I just want to get
So
there.
would you be in the 49ers camp, man?
I think I'm switching. I think I switched.
No, switching teams.
I'm switching. Pause. I'm switching.
I'm curious. Can you run a poll?
I'm trying to get it up right
I don't
now.
know.
Yep,
you
yep.
maybe even just say A or B. A being
Right, I'm trying to get. Yep.
I mean, just for
So
for
the
argument's
Tigers
sake.
of 02, Tigers of 06 to 14.
Yeah.
2 World Series.
Or the Marlins.
But they crapped out both.
Would
or
you
the
rather?
Marlins.
Yeah, that's a great point.
There you go.
The Marlins of '97.
Yep. And 03.
We've sucked for 60 years.
Yeah.
I could handle another 9.
Right.
I don't know anymore. Once you taste it like we're tasting it now,
I
you don't want to go back to those old dark days.
I disagree. Just watching how you Lions fans, I'm new to the party. Yeah, I'm new to the Lions party. Watching you guys over the last 4 years, this team went from, you know where they were. Won't have to get into it. To Dan Campbell, they go 3-13-1. Then they go 9-8. They got to the NFC Championship, and it wasn't enough for you guys. Then the following year, they won 15. It's like, oh, it's not enough for you guys. I don't think that Super Bowl win and falling off a shelf would be enough. I believe that once you got past the second year of winning the Super Bowl and not doing anything, all right, what are you guys doing? I think what Matt said, that San Francisco, every year you know you're going to be in the NFC Championship, and maybe in 8 years you go Super Bowl twice, that probably feels more realistic for what you want to do.
Keith, Super Bowl. Steve, I don't care about being a wild card team in the 90s. Tim Watson, Super Bowl. Mo Wiz, Super Bowl. Kip Nelson, okay, history, terrible in the modern era. Maz Arms looking better.
There you go.
Lions fans. Anakin, what's up? Hi, Sheila. I'm just starting
Lions
to read these.
fans.
R.J. Graham, winning for years, playoffs, 10 or 20 years for the Lions, Red Wings, Pistons, and Tigers.
Yeah.
I would suck for 20 years if we won a Super Bowl, says Ronan.
I like it.
P says Frank Ragnow will be back for training camp. I don't think so. Not sure that's a yes/no question. I look. I don't even know what you had to vote. Actually, we let Pete cook on the.
Pete overcooked.
It's a weird question,
Pete overcooked.
You
Pete,
overcooked.
Eliminate the check. Good try. Good try doing it quickly.
Oh, sorry, man.
That is so funny. But I think
I'm voting yes and no.
I'd rather be the Marlins of '97.
I got a dump.
agree.
And 03, pal.
And 03.
Look at the.
That's
can
the
I
Mickey
just-
Marlins.
Like, this Detroit Sports Spectacular was over the weekend.
I was there.
You were there, Pete.
Yep.
Pete was cooking. I saw you give out some koozies to a family.
Got it, buddy.
Doing the autographs?
You know who was there? The line of autographs. Alan Trammell.
Yeah.
He was.
When did that championship happen?
84.
84.
How long ago is that?
42.
41 years ago. You know who was also there? Fat Bill Lambier.
Bill Lambier. Dennis
Fat
Rodman.
Bill Lambier now.
Yes.
When did he win a championship with the
89.
89.
90? So how long ago is
Legend.
It's a long
35
time.
years ago. What I'm saying is, when you win a championship, they can never take that away from you. Do you think we're going to have 2006 parades with Joel Zumaya? But do you think if the Tigers won that World Series in 2006 that Joel Zumaya would ever buy another meal in this city? Would never buy another meal in this city. Look at the impact the 84 Tigers team has had on this organization moving forward. From Dan Petrie to Dave Rozema, from Kirk Gibson to Lance Parrish. Larry Herndon came back as a coach. Tom Brookins was a coach.
Rosie.
I mentioned him.
Good choice.
Rod Allen.
Rod
You know, I mean, just all up and down the roster for 84. Jack Morris. When you win a championship with an organization, you live on forever. And we have not been able to say that about any Tigers team, certainly any Lions team. Now, we remember guys like Lomas Brown and Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson and some of the greats in this franchise. And Jason Hansen.
Yeah.
You know, but, I mean, you remember the backup to the backup of insert player here? You would know all 53 men on a roster of a championship team.
Here you go. 2 headlines. Which headline is more likely to be the headline after the 2025 NFL season? Headline 1. Losing Johnson as well as Glenn and losing Frank Ragnow before the season started, even though Aiden Hutchinson came along with the season, just not enough in the tank for the Detroit Lions in the 2025 season with that schedule they finished, blah, blah, blah. Or what a terrific ride by the Detroit Lions being able to overcome losing 2 coordinators, a star center, blah, blah, blah. Aiden comes back. Way to go in getting to blank, blank, blank. Which headline seems more realistic in this moment? Which can change tomorrow or in a month. But in this moment, which headline? They overcame
I'm
or
taking the second one.
the overcome?
Yep.
Okay. The story.
Absolutely. Because I still believe they're good enough to win.
I do too.
Yes.
I do too.
I mean, I do too.
I do.
Yeah.
I agree.
I absolutely do. And again, don't mistake what I'm saying. They are not as good as they were a day ago, in my opinion. But they're still a damn good football team, tier 1 in the NFL for me.
Why do we have to justify everything for the fans out there? Like because like you're talking about the highest graded center, although we know Jason Kelce was better, highest graded center in the last 3 years has just retired from your franchise, in which he and the rest of the offensive line are the number 1 catalyst for your team and what you do. He then retires. Why do I have to say, well, I mean, you know, like I still believe, but you lost Frank Ragnow.
Right.
You lost Frank Ragnow. Why do I have to justify that? You lost Frank Ragnow. It's okay to be less good today than you were 2 hours ago.
I also think, just to answer your question, Braylon, I think that what Philadelphia did this year specifically after losing those coordinators lets me, or at least gives me the impression that that's not the be-all, end-all. You know, I mean, Philadelphia, it's about the players. And it's about, sure, replacing your coordinators that you had great success with competent coordinators. But I think the Lions have done that and more.
Remember what the Eagles did.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they barely made the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then they
turned it up.
Turned it up again. I mean, Matt Patricia was no longer on that
Very
team
true.
last year. You know,
Philly has jettisoned about 6 or 7 guys from last year's Super Bowl team.
Right.
February's Super Bowl team. They just traded a guy to
Huff.
They traded Huff away.
Bryce Huff.
Starting linebacker.
They're paying the bill now. They're paying the bill for guys like Saquon Barkley.
But they won.
They did. They won twice.
Yeah.
And went to 3. don't sleep on them when they lost.
I agree with you about that.
Should have won that one.
Good point.
That was Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes at their best.
Guys, Lions did have OTAs week 1 in the books.
Lions fans.
Get you some sound. Here's Dan Campbell talking about how everything is lining up. Dan Campbell, this is prior to Ragnow making the announcement public.
This was Friday.
Dan Campbell talking about everything lining up for us this season.
Give us any 5, my 5th year here, the core of this team's 5th year. And I really think it's exactly what we're going to need. The timing is perfect.
Timing is perfect.
He's talking about the schedule, all these other, we can't rush the passer. He didn't say, yeah, we lost our starting center. He didn't. I'd like to ask him that question again, and I think some of these guys will get in there eventually. We're going to hear from the.
That's why I can be calm and confident in. I believe that they still are a damn good team, and I believe that they still will win this division. Now, what happens in the playoffs will be on them. But, man, it is going to be a much harder first half of this NFL season, just in my estimation, because you would be remiss if you didn't look at that schedule. And now you look at that offensive line that has a couple bumps and bruises, or the defensive line, like, all right, it's going to be interesting.
Games against a playoff team could be. I believe it was one of those NFC East teams. Then the Detroit Lions, 11 of the 17 games. Now, that's not to say that there's a team that is not going to fall back and all 11 of those opponents will make the playoffs this season. I mean, that's what makes the NFL so great is we just don't know. We don't know from one year to the next what's happening, but we do know one guy who is working like crazy, and that's Jameson Williams. This is a guy that a lot of people are very high on.
I wouldn't say I changed anything, ever since I've been installed into working hard as a kid, with my pops, I always had the same mindset, just go out there and be the best, work the hardest. My dad, he always texts me like, I'll work everybody, no matter who it is, I'll work everybody. So, that's just my mentality. I guess just going into year 4, I got a little pep in my step. I'm becoming a vet, moving over from the rookie stage, and I'm just ready to play more football and be more consistent for my team.
I love JMO. I've been there. You always have known how to work your pops and instilled that into you, but now you're settling into it and good for you. Year 4 is when you're a vet, Ryan. Year 1, you're figuring out you're a rookie. What do I do? What vets do I latch on to? What's the regimen? What's the team? Year 2, okay, now I'm going to trust myself a little bit more and kind of still try to figure this thing out, but trust myself. If you, especially you're in a good team as he is. Year 3 is kind of like, all right, it's going to be fun. Let's have a go year. It's like that junior year. Junior year is fun. It's like it's go time. 100%. It's like, I'm going to have some fun. I understand the system. I'm still kind of a kid, though. Senior year is when you turn it on. Senior year is when you come to professional. Senior year is when you're not out hanging out until 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It's when you're dialed in. You're getting your rest. You're in the playbook. That's what I compare it to. That's what it was for me, and I think that's what it is for JMO. He now understands I'm not year 2. I'm not year 3. I'm a valuable part. This thing moves fast. There's a lot of guys that are no longer here with this Lions team that were here the year before. They're going to be leaning on him more often. He's gotten bigger. He's gotten faster. He's dialed into his route more. You can see the videos richer. That 100%. He said he's gotten richer.
Well, it is a pay year for him, right?
Well, he got paid
already.
I know, but this is the big long-term deal money year,
and that is the biggest part. Yeah. Now you know how to get that money, so he's gonna go out there and get it.
Bet the overs on all the JMO yardage, touchdowns. I think that would be a smart bet. Bet the overs on his deals.
I said last year that I think he could lead the league in receiving yards.
You did. I remember that.
I think this year he could absolutely do that. I mean, he's definitely a guy.
If he didn't have Saint there, I would bet on that.
Yeah.
Well, he still could do that because Jamar Chase, he's got T. Higgins.
Yep.
Yeah, he's still putting up numbers. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how they use him. That play action can be very key. But Jameson Williams, man, the routes, the development of the route running ability is what I've been watching in his videos that he's posted or that they've posted. Their route running ability looks sick. Before it's just slants, overs, and goes. Now he's running all the routes.
Shall we talk a little Tigers next, baby? Tigers, baby. Are you kidding me? We'll get to some Detroit
The
Tigers.
Grand Prix this weekend.
Oh,
though.
yeah, we got to go through our
Let's
weekend,
dive
too. Frank
into the
Ragnow
weekend.
kind of derailed everything.
Yeah,
Let's do
We
that.
got a Stanley Cup final
Oh!
and NBA final.
Oh, man.
Yes, we do.
My goodness.
You called the NBA final.
Called it.
He
I
said-
told
he
you.
called it.
You called me Knicks at 7.
That's right.
But
my initial one.
the day we were on the show, when I chose the Wolves and the Knicks, he said, watch is going to be the exact opposite. Watch is going to be the Pacers and
This will be
he did that.
the least watched NBA finals in history,
I don't
by
know,
the way.
man. I don't know. This playoffs kind of suck. So if this is a good series, this one might suck too. I mean, this could be a sweep. We'll talk about it all next. But first, a message from Ben Johnson, baby.
Ben Johnson.
The fighter.
He's the fighter. You know what? Justice. It just means different things to different people. But whether it's a settlement or a verdict, justice is always worth the fight. It's the fighter. It's Ben Johnson Law, and that's what they want to do for you. If you've got a case, contact the fighters at Ben Johnson Law today. They will take your case, and they will win your case for you. Tough, tenacious trial lawyers. You don't hear that often. Speaking, this isn't in the read. This is just me. Lawyers don't want to go to trial. Not every lawyer can handle trial. The fact that they said they are trial lawyers, that means they want to jump in the fight for you, man. Trust Ben Johnson Law just like we do.
And all this Lions talk, I know you want to go get some new Lions merch. Shop.woodwardsports.com is where you can go get Lions merch, Tigers merch, Red Wings, Pistons. Doesn't matter. Shop.woodwardsports.com. It's a new era of sports wearables, new designs. No matter if it's hoodies, tees, hats, it's all guaranteed to turn heads. So get your merch right now. Shop.woodwardsports.com. We'll be right back.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak. Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Baligian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media: X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Feldman Chevrolet still has tariff-free inventory, so we're extending the Memorial Day sale. That means it's your last chance to get tariff-free pricing on your new Chevy. Get this 2025 Silverado for only $199 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for just $259 a month. But hurry, these low prices won't last. Don't miss your last chance to save big. The Memorial Day sale has been extended at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Woodwardsports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. Woodwardsports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at woodwardsports.com.
Hey guys, it's Maz for Massage Chair House, looking to upgrade your relaxation game. Well, check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, right up the street from us on Woodward and Long Lake Road, the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest, featuring Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doc, creator of the YouTube Massage Chair Review channel, the top-rated one at that. Book a visit right now, massagechairhouse.com, or scan that QR code. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
And if you guys right now scan that QR code above my head, you can head to Feldman Chevrolet and their website, and you can check out their website where you can get a 2025 Chevy Silverado for just $199 a month, or get a 2025 Chevy Equinox for only $259 a month. Come visit any of Feldman's 5 Chevy locations in Metro Detroit, Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, or in Lansing. Gentlemen,
welcome back. Ermanni Edwards with Maz, just tapping into what happened this past weekend, man. Ryan Ermanni was talking about the Grand Prix. Kyle Kirkwood did win the Grand Prix. I had a chance to go, as you see in the background. Shout out to Kyle Kirkwood, who dueled it out with Team Penske. Shout out to Penske. That's how I was able to get my pit lane passes. Took the whole family. It's the vibes, man. It's great energy. It was a little cool outside. But if you're in the sun, man, it was a great time. Great time had by all. Ryan, did you get a chance to pay attention? You and Lukey a little bit?
I watched the race yesterday,
Okay.
and I have been, once you go to these races, you can't help but be a fan of the sport. And I'm sure, Braylon, you experienced the same
side by
thing.
side from last year to this year, man.
You're looking good, man. You look good. You look a lot better this year than you did last year, but you still look good. But again,
it's so
like Ragnow.
You look the same to me.
Look, same like Ragnow.
Yeah.
You look great both years, but you look just because you look better this year don't mean you look bad last year.
It's so funny you say that. You never know when you're in it what you look like. I thought I was good last year too. I look at the picture, I was like, nah, that's too many drinks.
Right. But look, when you go, and I'm curious to see how many of our listeners went to the Grand Prix. Once you go, you can't help but be hooked.
That's right.
The speed of the car, the noise of the car, the people watching that you do when you're there, and these drivers are all awesome.
Woodward Sports was all over it.
They did
Justin
a
and
tremendous
Spenny
job.
and Sam and
Tremendous
everybody.
job.
Everybody was down there.
And Kyle Kirkwood, by the way, he's the only other driver to win a race other than Alex Palou. Alex Palou has won 5 of the 6 races coming in. Kirkwood won the other race, and now he's got 2. So Palou's got 5 wins.
Wow.
Kirkwood's got 2. No other driver through 7 races has won a race. And this sport is, I'm telling you, it's about as high as it's been in the last 20 years.
That's a tough course down there.
Yeah, it is. It's very unique.
I think Netflix also has a lot to do with that, man. Netflix, they did those shows. They did The Receiver. They did the one with the F1. They did NASCAR, and it's starting to grow those audiences. I noticed a boom, kind of like when people started to watch those Netflix shows. Pete, you know, you had something going on this weekend, too. You got some good video, too, man.
I did, my friend. Yeah, I appreciate it, Braylon. I was,
sure.
I had a good weekend, you guys. I was at the Detroit Sports Spectacular, as Ryan mentioned earlier, and I was, had a very late night. I was all set to go down to the Grand Prix, so I got a late start for the Grand Prix on Sunday, but I want to play you guys a quick video while I was getting ready to head on downtown. This took place overhead of my house.
It's not every day you get a flyover by an A-10 Warthog.
The A-10 Warthogs, which were doing the flyby for the national anthem over at the Detroit Grand Prix, they were actually waiting for their green, their go codes over my house. So they were kind of like circling over the house, and I figured I would just grab some quick footage and listen to the sound, guys, of the A-10 Warthogs, the tank buster.
Now, is that an A-10 Warthog, or is that a...
2 of them.
They're a drone.
Nope, those are the actual A-10 Warthogs out of Selfridge who did the
Pete knows his history.
The flyover.
No, I'm just
for the exactly for the flyover for the national anthem. So I just thought and then you had your video from Saturday, did you not?
I did, a little slow motion, little same
Yeah, look at
situation.
that.
I caught this in slow motion, right? I was on top of the Millender Center right as these angels were about to get ready to
The
duck
People
around.
Mover goes to the Millender Center.
What, he said what?
The People Mover. That's one of the stops.
At 100%.
Millender Center.
I remember when it first opened in '86. I don't know why I did it in slow motion, but it kind of looks cool.
Let me zoom in on that.
You said something about Selfridge Air Base. Pete, I was in the Selfridge Air Base program in 6th grade at Jesu.
Were
We would
you
go out
really?
there once a month, build rockets, play in the simulator as well. So
Oh, cool.
I know all about
That's
that
wild.
trip down 94 to Selfridge Air Base. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty
That
cool,
was
dude.
Maz, have you been down to those races? I mean,
Yeah.
know you're not a big race guy.
In the past, I have.
yeah.
I went on Friday for a little bit before I came here. That was free pre-day. Picked up a bunch of stuff downtown. It was the sound, man. If you're down there, it's probably worth you bringing a couple of headphones to cover your ears sometimes, especially, you go to these concerts and you get a loud events. You go to the Lions game and you see people with their kids and their kids have the earphones
all my
in.
kids do.
Yeah, because it's loud, man.
Yeah.
But you know what it was? This is what I took out of the whole weekend. It's today, matter of fact. 15 years ago today, where were you guys when this happened?
Oh.
There you go, Armando Galarrago.
I screwed up.
He was at the Sports Spectacular.
He was.
this
Yes, he
weekend.
was.
Now, this was brought up to me
Never got close to a perfect game after that. Just throwing that out.
about a year ago.
sucks.
I don't remember by who, but I shut it down at the time. And I think I got it wrong. The question to me was, would Armando Galarraga been better off if he threw the perfect game or if he didn't?
We had that discussion.
I don't know. Was it here? Was it you?
No, I had it on Saturday at Detroit Sports Spectacular, but go
The
ahead.
answer is no.
That is correct.
This is the best possible thing that ever happened to Armando Galarraga.
Yep.
Because I think it's happened 27 times a perfect
That is
game.
correct.
You couldn't name me 10 of those pitchers.
No.
You couldn't name me 15 of those pitchers. You might not be able to name me 20 of those pitchers. You wouldn't be able to name me 20 of them. But I guarantee you, everybody, if you're a baseball fan, you know who Armando Galarraga
Yep.
is.
Let me ask you this. Let's put that game today with replay. And the replay overturns it. I still think it's not as exciting or depressing as it was back then. I think, because if you go to replay, like if you win a championship game on a replay,
Here's what happens.
it ain't the same.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here's what happens on a replay situation. They know they got the out. So you can put the headsets on all you want. They're still storming Galarraga, and they're going to have their celebration.
Yeah.
And then the umpire's going to come in, and he's going to say
And then the
like
fans
this.
are gonna really
And
go
then
for it.
Yeah. Then it's
So maybe it is good.
yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It'd still be fine.
It would.
I mean, how many times have you seen a walk-off at the plate? We've seen it a couple of times
Yeah.
now where the team walks it off safe, and then they confirm
It,
out or safe.
it almost happened in the softball world championship where the runner walked it off, but they missed home
She
plate.
missed home plate.
And they had to
UCLA.
replay it, but they ended up giving it to them anyway.
How does that happen?
Right?
Going backwards, starting at 24. Domingo Herman, excuse me.
For the Yankees, who no longer pitches for them.
100%. That was 2023. Felix Hernandez.
Wait, sidebar to that. He was on my fantasy team, and I had him on my bench.
Yes, of
Go
course
ahead.
you did. No, I have no doubt about
Yep.
that. I have no doubt about
Damn, that sucks.
Yep.
That sucks.
Remember that 260-yard, 3-touchdown game Amari Cooper had? That was to win my fantasy. Guess where he was?
Oh, God.
He was on the bench. Matt Cain, 2012. Phil Humber, 2012.
That was the White
Roy
Sox.
Halladay,
Oh, Doc.
2010. Dallas Braden, 2010.
Yep, that was a good one.
Mark.
Burley.
I remember
There we go.
that.
Burley.
You know what happened to that Burley?
2009.
Dwayne Wise went over the wall with one out in the ninth. Literally.
I remember.
Over the wall and brought it
I
back.
remember that,
And then
actually.
he had to catch it again as he was falling down.
I remember
That
that.
I do
saved that
remember
game.
that kind of sort of.
Now,
Numbers.
by the way, can I just as you're
Please, go
going
ahead, go
as
ahead.
you're going through all these names, like I've heard of all these players,
But they're not the ones you would expect.
but they're not
No.
like I would never say that Mark Burley threw a perfect game,
Right.
Or Dallas Braden threw a perfect game. Like I remember that they did, or I remember their names,
It's so funny you said
but I
that.
couldn't list them.
It's funny because the next three are all names you recognize.
Right. Roy Halladay, out of all of them, was the only one really. Right now, Roy Halladay was the only one really that you would think.
Kenny
would throw a
Brown says
perfecto.
Miggy screwed up. By
Yeah, I
the
know.
way.
Miggy shouldn't have fielded that ball. The second baseman gets that ball, it's an out. But, here we go. Thanks, KB.
Here we go. Randy Johnson, 17.
Oh, yeah.
David Cone,
Woo, Coney.
16. David Wells, 15. So there's some New
He
York
was
love
drunk,
for
by
you
the way.
right there. Kenny Rogers, 94.
Oh, baby.
Dennis Martinez,
El Presidente.
91.
El Perfecto. That was the name of that one.
Catfish Hunter.
Oh, love
The Catfish, 1988. Mike Witt, Sandy Koufax, of course. Don Larson.
in the World Series.
100%. I'll stop there.
I mean, just by gauging the chat, everybody says they'd want the perfect game over what Galarraga experienced.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
I
the
don't know
Super Bowl question.
Can I?
In baseball terms.
I think we're looking at it like two different terms. You look at it in terms of the notoriety.
Yes.
Like when you think about this,
I'm always thinking about money, dollar signs, notoriety, what you could do.
I look at it what it does in completion for the mental.
Yeah.
You pitch a perfect game and have that attached to you. I think it adds a level to your pitching. Like if I remember correctly, he wasn't necessarily anything special after that moment as a pitcher. He pitches that perfect game. I think he puts a battery in his back and allows him to have some success stemming off that, though.
Can I jump in here, guys, real quick? Because I was at that Detroit Sports Spectacular, and
how was that, by the way?
It was in Novi over at there.
Who
Novi,
puts that on?
Pardon me?
Who puts that on?
I don't know. It was like there's like 5 or 6 different sponsors, major sports card companies around the Metro Detroit area that sponsor it and help put it on. Rochester Sports Cards, shout out to them. They're one of the top sponsors. But anyway, I happen to be friends with. There's only 50 Topps Card Platinum members in the entire world, and I'm friends with 2 of them, and I ran into them and met up with them at the show, and they talked about the Armando Galarraga. These are 2 guys that help set the market for you sports card collectors out there, for everybody, and they said there is nothing better than a 28-out perfect game. That is probably the most anything you can get from a 28-out, no-hit perfect game. It is one of the most sought after anything you can get from that game. Dirt, grass, uniforms, anything. That is like one of the most holy grails of anything. If you can get Armando Galarraga to sign on the date that he did it, anything. That is one of the top items that you can own in a collection.
Hold on.
Or something from 28
I just saw there's a name missing from this list, Pete and Maz. I don't see Billy Chappell on here.
Oh yeah,
Billy Chappell.
I don't see Billy Chappell on here.
At Tiger Stadium.
Didn't he have a perfect? No, he did it.
No, that was on the road. He had the
did
road
it Yankees.
unis. Yeah, he had the road
He
unis.
said it's a cathedral, but today it's a chapel.
But I'm just saying it's important, Ryan. I agree with you.
I'm trying to make a comparison of nothing like that really ever happened before,
Yeah.
I mean, in sports terms, nothing like that has really ever happened.
That's why it's great.
Yeah.
Collectors love it.
Because it's like, it's human error that blew that.
Right.
Like most things that you get of that nature, it's not a human error thing. It happens or it doesn't.
Right.
Like you get a hole in one, like it happened or it didn't. Like,
Right. You're right.
Like with that one, it was like, wait, somebody kind of helped you not get that. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
I'm trying to find this chat. One of the guys said, "Come on, guys, Detroit has suffered enough today. Don't bring this up."
15 years ago today. This was one of those moments, though, that you do remember exactly where you were the night that happened, don't you? Like in Detroit.
And the next
probably
day.
Not you, Braylon, because you were.
What year was it?
15 years ago today.
So
2010.
Yeah,
2010.
I was driving home from the movie.
Oh, nah. I know where I was at.
I listened to Dan Dickerson on the radio.
I was watching it. I wasn't there, but I was watching it.
I was partying in New York at the time, enjoying summertime in New York. So I wasn't.
Oh man, it's so baseball, man. Is there something about it? Is there something about it that will live forever? And either way, Armando Galarraga, what a class act he was that night.
Yes.
And the next day, what's he get?
Corvette.
They bring him a Corvette, and he brings the card out to Jim Joyce, who breaks down in tears.
I love Jim Joyce.
Yeah, he brings the lineup card to Jim Joyce, who's crying, and Galarraga's basically putting his arm around him. That was, you can't get a better moment than that.
And I think because it was Jim Joyce and not C.B. Buckner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if C.B. Buckner did it, he'd probably just say,
Yep. Or any other bad
umpire.
Okay, but
Angel Hernandez.
let me ask you that.
Angel Hernandez.
Oh my God,
He's the worst.
By the way, Mike G says he would have been a perfect game if Galarraga was white.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
God, Mike.
It was a joke. He's just joking.
I know.
He's joking.
I know he is. You can still joke like that. Maybe.
Can we laugh? Thank you.
Side note, I give some love to your boy, 45 or 47, whichever you want to call him. He put, I think he gave $30 million in airplanes a month ago to Selfridge. Talking about Donald Trump.
Yeah. You're right. Good call.
Donald
He beefed
Trump.
them up.
So-
Kept them going.
Gretchen, Big Gretchen got that.
100%.
Yep, that's right. Him and Big Gretch did the sign. That's right.
Gretch is still fixing the
Hey,
road.
kudos, man.
I mean, no, it's what happens. It's what
That's
happens
fair.
when the two sides work together.
Right,
true.
when you
Right?
work together.
That's what happens.
Look at
The
that.
two sides work
Kumbaya,
together.
baby.
I'm telling you, crap gets done. Maybe people don't like it, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Good for Gretchen Whitmer. Good for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wins.
Good for us.
Everybody
Good for-
wins.
Good for the state of
won.
Michigan.
Yep.
Good for America.
Good for America.
America, baby.
All right, guys. I do want to
Gotta
talk
add
some
that
Tigers. I want to talk a little NBA Finals, too. A little Stanley Cup Finals. The manager.
Oh, the manager.
The manager's former team.
gonna end the
This
slump?
is also, by the way, Stanley Cup Final, the first time we've had the same final in back-to-back years.
Since? Yeah, Red Wings and
Wings.
Penguins.
Red Wings and Penguins.
09, is it 08, 09?
Yeah, so 8 or 9.
And it'll be on TBS or TNT. So not regular television.
Is that what the final is on?
Yes.
So I got to put up with Kenny Albert and not Sean McDonough. I wrote Sean. Sean and I were writing back and forth with each other today. I'm like, I'm going to miss you on the final. I mean, Kenny Albert makes my ears bleed.
You know, Kenny Albert has called more national televised games.
I didn't tag him, no.
You should.
You know, Kenny Albert has called more
Yes,
nationally
than his
televised
dad.
games than his
Than
dad.
his dad. But you know what? He don't call him a quarter as good. Yes!
You gotta
Give
add
the
him.
guy a break.
No.
You gotta add him, man.
Why
Let him
don't
know.
you give him a
I'm
break?
sure he's a nice guy. Maybe. He's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, okay, but here's another one. Jeremy Schaap wasn't Dick Schaap.
But Jeremy Schaap, I liked
He's
him.
good. I did too.
I
But,
liked him. And I'm just not a Kenny Albert fan.
okay. Now we get into the crux.
There you go.
Now we get
What
to-
other Albert is there?
Steve Albert,
Herb
Al
Albert.
Albert.
Who's Steve Albert?
Steve's the brother of Marv. Al is the brother of Steve and Marv.
They're all brothers.
Yeah, the Albert brothers were amazing.
Amazing.
You're sleeping on
They were
Herb
all
Albert.
in New York. Each one had a
So
team.
when I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, did the NBC studio tour, and in the hallways they have the team at the NBC affiliate, the NBC4, I guess it
Yes.
would be.
They
And
call it
Marv
W-
Albert was a sports guy in the 70s or something.
Man,
like
I got
that.
to watch him every single night do the sports.
Uh,
Every single night. He would call the Knicks and Rangers, and then at 11 o'clock, 11:15,
Yeah.
turn on Channel 4, Marv Albert was
He was
doing
their
the
Dan
sports.
Miller.
Maz, how were you when all the news came out back in the day?
About Marv?
Yes.
Okay, don't ask me.
No, but I'm not asking.
I'm not
I'm not
I didn't
asking
wanna
in a negative
I didn't
way.
want to believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to believe it. That's all.
When you talk about Marv Albert,
Yeah.
though, a little bit of a pivot here. Just let me geek out for a minute. Because I grew up, and like these sports anchors were kind of like your heroes.
They're my heroes.
Right? You had George Michael in Washington,
Yep.
D.C., the George Michael sports machine growing up. You'd
He
wait.
was
it
terrific.
It was unbelievable.
Every Sunday night at 11:30.
Absolutely. Yes. George Michael sports machine. You had Warner Wolf.
Let's go to the videotape.
Yeah, you had Warner
That
Wolf.
was Channel 2 in
He
the-
was
in Michigan,
even in
in
Rocky
New
4.
York.
Right.
He was
Yep.
the announcer in Rocky 4, Warner Wolf. You had
Absolute pandemonium.
you had Marv Albert. You
Channel
had
4.
God, what was the guy's name in Rocky 1 and Rocky 2? He was a Philadelphia sportscaster.
Yes,
Oh.
Bill Bennett.
Bill something.
No.
Bill something. But these larger than life.
Stu Nahan of
Stu
L.A.
Nahan, yeah.
But Bill Brown or not Bill something.
God, I'll get it. Keep
You had
talking.
all of these larger than life sports person, even here locally. I mean, Don Shane, Bernie Smilovitz, Eli Zaret. You had all these great guys. If you look around,
Donnie was my guy.
if you look around the landscape now in
Same.
local media, I mean, I think everybody does a nice job.
Yes.
But I feel like Dan Miller at Fox 2 is kind of the last great local sports anchor from
Yes.
that era.
Correct.
I'm not
Yes.
sure we will ever see another local news station have a sports anchor with the
Right.
stature of Dan Miller.
You're right.
Who has
Agreed.
come up the way
Yeah.
you're supposed to come up, just where you pay your dues,
Yep.
you do everything you
City
have to
to city.
do, where you just build a career. You bounce around a little bit, you land somewhere, and that becomes your home.
Yeah.
And that becomes like you're just so ingrained in that community, and you're revered you're revered in that city as one of the greats of all time. I'm not sure, and this is no shot at anybody that does that job, because it's not as easy as it looks.
No.
Those guys put a lot of work in, but I'm just talking about cut from that same cloth. We will never see another local sports anchor with the stature that Dan Miller has. I just believe that.
Agreed.
I feel like the farm system's gone. There's not that many jobs in that.
And there's no doubt. The teams our news stations have eliminated local sports departments.
I'm a Brad Galley guy, but he's the newer era.
He's terrific.
Terrific.
I love him. He's terrific.
Nobody outworks that guy.
Nobody. He's terrific. But Dan Miller is just like
he's the voice of the Lions on top of it.
But take that aside.
I don't think
the
he can.
Lions stuff aside.
Yeah.
I mean, it just when you turn on the news at 5, 6, 10, and 11, and you see Dan Miller, you're like, "Yep, that's my sports guy."
And he still has his Sunday sports show.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot of cities have that anymore.
That is Bill Baldwin.
Bill
Baldwin.
Stu
Nahan. Calling the Rocky fight.
Set it up, baby.
But I mean,
I've never seen more Italians in a place. Right. I didn't say that.
Right. Exactly.
You said that, not me.
Great stuff.
That is hilarious.
There you go.
That's right. Absolutely. And obviously, the whole team. Somebody mentions Woodward. Obviously, the whole team. What Fox 2 has in a local sports department, where you have 3 sportscasters that have been there since the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Is unheard of. I just point Dan out because he is the guy that you see every single night.
Throw the hammer in there.
The hammer,
Yeah.
Woody.
Yeah.
I mean,
what a team.
The team. And Greg Canner, as the sports producer, you don't have a team like that in local news. You just don't. They don't exist.
Nice job, Fox.
It is tremendous what they're able to do.
Detroit's always had those sports, kind of like those faces or those personalities that have always brought me in, man. Like I remember, Van Horn. We talked about that.
Van Earl Wright?
Excuse me. We talk about Van Earl Wright. You talk about Eli. Don Shane was my guy. Rest in peace. To get a chance to go in with him last year posthumously was amazing to the Hall of Fame. But just the voices you remember being younger. I remember hearing the voices. I remember the shows. I remember waiting and watching with my grandfather, Eli Zaire, Van Horn, watching with my dad. So, always have had
Eli.
100%.
Eli was I loved Eli growing up, too. Eli. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. Sorry, went off on a tangent like that. And absolutely, shout out to our homegrown guy, Ryan Field, in New York.
Oh, I love Ryan.
Who's better than Ryan Field?
Nobody.
Love him.
Yep.
But
my mother's in love with him.
Yeah, and
she watches him every night.
But he's kind of like that new era.
Yeah.
Right? He's that new era.
Anyone on Price is Right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And he was in the air flying on 9/11.
Whoa.
Yeah. He was flying on 9/11.
Oh, my God.
In the plane. I think he got diverted to Canada and had to stay there for like 4 days.
That's right. I remember that story.
Remember that story?
Canada, that's terrible.
Absolutely.
What part of Canada?
Horrible.
He's safe over there.
Newfoundland.
Horrible, eh?
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't want to I'll pass.
Did he catch a Jays game while he was in? No,
They got brothers in Newfoundland?
I'm glad Greg mentioned we never include Ray Lane when we talk about
the Razor.
Don Shane and Bernie Smilowitz and Eli's there. The Razor absolutely has to be in there. Ray Lane.
No doubt.
These kids today don't even know who we're talking about.
They have no clue.
It's so funny that's the voice when you go back and you think anything like 90s and earlier, it's Ray Lane. Like, it's something.
I never, ever in a million years would have moved to Michigan if it didn't have the sports it had. I swear to God. I would have broke up with my now wife.
Right.
I would not have moved here.
Right. You're
I
not
would have
moving
stayed
to
in
Hartford.
Jersey.
You know?
I'm not going to Hartford. They lost the Whalers.
Right.
Still working the clubs.
Yeah.
You had
All right, guys.
Bad Boys. You came in, 91?
3.
93?
Yeah.
Right off the heels
Oh,
of
yeah.
Bad Boys.
The first thing I watched
missed
when I got here,
Michigan.
the first thing I got was Chris Webber's game. That was the first time I put the television on.
The timeout?
In Michigan. And it was the timeout.
So it's your fault.
Oh, wow.
It's
your fault.
I knew this. It's always mad.
Guys, we'll take a break. When we come back, we are talking about the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals. We'll go around the NFL. So much to get to, but first, a message from Planet Fitness.
Where your fitness is essential with over 50 metropolitan Detroit locations. It's the gym for you. It's time to get in shape. You got to do it at Planet Fitness. Look, there's no judgment. You know, nobody's judging. We want you to work out at your own pace. But in working out at your own pace, man, we have trainers that can guide you along your journey. They can make sure you do the things, you know the things to do. The gyms are squeaky clean, especially those locker rooms. It's just a great place, man. Come on down to Planet Fitness, get in shape, feel great, and your fitness is essential.
And you're already watching the shows. Make sure you stay connected with Woodward Sports on all social platforms. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, along with YouTube, Twitch, TikTok for the latest sports news, live updates, and behind the scenes action. All right, don't miss out. Don't miss out. Hit that follow button now and be a part of Detroit's #1 digital sports network. Woodward Sports is everywhere. Follow us at Woodward Sports. We'll be right back.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, June 13th from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Nemo's in Corktown for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Ven Johnson.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. VenFights.com.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, let me tell you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff, like gimmies on the golf course. We like uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, sign in, and before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Lady Jane's open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome. One of the, local stations.
I
local
totally
news.
get it. And just our condolences to John Brinkus from Sports Science. I know everyone watched ESPN and remembered those specials that they had on ESPN. Yep. That guy, he was really, really good and way ahead of his time, by the way. He passed away over the weekend. So our thoughts are with him and his family.
Just terrible.
Yep.
And,
sad. Took his own life, guys.
Yeah,
so,
by the way, June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Yeah. Just a time for men to kind of check in with themselves, with others, reach out if you need something. This was incredibly sad news. You think a guy is, got everything on the outside, but on the inside, he's just
he's been fighting depression for years. They said.
And he's been honest about it.
Join that club.
My goodness, please reach out if you need a helping hand or just somebody to listen to you. So. all the best to the Brinkus family as they're going through
He's
an
missed.
unimaginable tragedy.
Everybody's always going through something. You just don't know.
Yep.
You know, you look at everybody and say, "Oh, he's good because of this. She's good because of that." You know, everybody. It's human nature. Everyone's suffering with something, man. Don't be afraid.
When a guy
to
cuts me off on the road, and he looks so angry,
You
like
just
so
you
angry.
gotta let him go. You gotta be peaceful.
Like I had a guy put his hand and give me the bird out of the sunroof,
Yeah,
out of the moonroof. And
Right.
I was so pissed at that second. Then I went like this.
Right.
Let it be. Maybe that guy's having an awful day.
That bird, mask.
Yeah.
That bird wasn't even for you.
I know.
No.
That bird was
for
a
life.
situation that he was dealing with.
Right.
You just happened to get the
Yeah.
bird, but it wasn't for you.
I know.
That's something always good to keep
I don't
in
look
mind.
back at people anymore or nothing. You know, you look.
Yeah.
No.
Because what
got
is
ten.
what
It
is
ain't
the
worth
looking
it.
back
Yeah.
gonna do?
Ain't
You're
worth
right.
it.
No doubt.
You don't look back, somebody punches you.
I know.
Right. Guys, I want to get to the NBA Finals. The Thunder host Game 1 of the NBA Finals against the Pacers on Thursday night. And look, if you just go by OKC and Indianapolis, two of the smallest markets in professional sports, but the Oklahoma City Thunder are the best team in the NBA.
They are.
Now there could be an
That
argument.
nobody knows.
There could be an argument made about Indiana, but they earned their way there, and I am here for it. How many times have we said we don't want to see LeBron? Maybe no more Steph. We need new faces. Well, you got them. You got SGA. You got Halliburton. You got Turner. You got your big guy Chet Holmgren. So there are some really good players, really good young players that are going to take this league into the next sort of phase of a new era, I should say, of NBA basketball, and I'm here for it.
Excited for the new era, excited for the change. You know, Maz, everybody's been clamoring for different look, new people. You know, it may not be the people you want, but it's the people we got. And SGA is absolutely electric. He's willed his team here just with tremendous flow of the game, tremendous understanding, tremendous confidence in himself. And the same for Tyrese Halliburton and his team. Now, for all the people that are out there like, oh, it's OKC, it's over. You already see it's 80-1. Like the odds on this game, the only team that's won in the last 30 years with these type of odds, isn't it the Pistons?
Yep, 04.
They're going to work, the Pistons 04. So I understand what they're against, but here's what you need to know. I trust Rick Carlisle more than I do Mark Deneau, because Rick Carlisle's been there. In fact, he's not only been there. Last time I checked, he beat the LeBron team that said not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
Thank God.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle beat that team. Tremendous team game that he taught that Dallas Mavericks team to play with. So that's 1. 2, Pascal Siakam just won your MVP. Pascal Siakam has already won a championship. To get a guy like Pascal Siakam to play in this phase, play that well as a guy that has won, has that experience, has that cachet and that comfortability, that bodes well for the team. The same thing that we talk about for OKC. Oh, the depth. They can run. They're 48 minutes. They play defense as well as offense. There's no ego. Isn't that the same thing we've been saying about the Indianapolis Pacers? What did the coach from Cleveland tell us about this pace?
They go
I've
48.
never seen a
Right.
pace like this.
They go
48 minutes
up and
strong.
down.
So they'll be able to run with OKC. They play defense with OKC, and they don't have the is it Jalen, is it Jason Tatum, or is it Anthony Edwards? They don't have that. They understand it. Tyrese Halliburton, as well as he played, he didn't win MVP. Pascal Siakam
He thought he
did.
was gonna.
True.
Did you see that
and
video?
He realistically he should have.
He
but
stepped up when they were like,
Yeah.
and the MVP goes to, and he was smiling, walking up towards the dais. Pascal Siakam.
I think it was more of a little fun. I think they were having some fun. But everybody is just blowing this Pacers team away because it's Indiana, because it's the Pacers, because you don't believe in their superstar. I told you something 3 weeks ago. I said you may not like Tyrese Halliburton, but you are going to learn to respect him before it's all said and done. And he has his team in the finals. You better put some respect on their name before it's too late.
Let me tell you, man, they dismantled the Knicks on Saturday night. And like I told you, I think they took Thursday night's game at the Garden off. They just said, okay, we're going to chill. We know we can beat this team. And they beat them from pillar to post, from the start to the end. Knicks fall short in 6 again. Tom Thibodeau, I don't know. We'll see what they do going forward. And then there's people in New York now clamoring that they have to trade Karl Anthony Towns away. It's a must to trade Cat. That's all over the newspapers. And I don't get that. I think you have to add to this team, not subtract. I could be wrong. I don't know. Like I said, I've been waiting since 1973 for them to be relevant again, and I guess I'll keep waiting.
And maybe that's what answer means when we talked about the New York Knicks fans, because there's no reason after legitimately what Karl Anthony Towns has done for the team this year that you are clamoring for this individual to leave. Now, I know he may rub you the wrong way, but you weren't saying that a week ago. You weren't saying that 4 days ago. You weren't saying that 2 weeks ago, and you weren't saying it during the season. So I'd pipe down on that. Last thing on OKC, Ryan, and SGA, have they ever won a championship?
No.
Do they know what it means to go 7 games or 4 games? Do they know what it's like to go on the road in a championship game? They do not. So for as good as they are in the regular season, for SGA to be MVP, deservingly so, you don't know what you don't know, and you got 2 individuals that don't know what they don't know. So I think it's going to be a 7-game series, to be honest.
Wow.
I can make an argument that Rick Carlisle is the best coach in the NBA over the last 30 years.
I can't argue with you.
I'm going back to 1995. We're in 2025. I can make an argument that Rick Carlisle is not only up there, but number 1.
He put the Pistons where they needed to go, and then Larry Brown took them over to the finish line. But I don't know. I think Carlisle could have done the same.
He has taken 4 different teams to a conference final. Now, Indiana twice, but that's a much different.
Yeah, this is different than back then.
It's like taking a different franchise.
It's like Saban winning his last national championship versus first. It's 2 different leagues.
So, took Detroit, Indiana, Dallas, and Indiana, 20 years apart, by the way, those Indiana ones. 4 different teams to an NBA final, 4 different teams to a conference final, won an NBA title, and has this team in an NBA final. Name me the top 50 player on this team. Name me the top 50 player on the Pistons team that he took. Now, you've got Dirk, of course, an all-time great.
Jason Kidd.
Dirk and Jason Kidd, okay, like not the most dynamic duo in the history of duos in the NBA, no offense.
Yeah, go ahead.
Great, but great players, Hall of Famers, but not like when you go through the NBA and you list the top duos of all time, are they on the top 10 list?
No, because they only played together a couple
Right.
of years. Yeah, so no.
So no. And then the 04 Indiana team, you had Reggie Miller. Great player.
Rick Smits.
I mean, look at the rosters that he's done it with is what I'm trying to tell you. This isn't Shaq and Kobe. This isn't Michael and Scotty. This isn't the Bad Boys. This isn't Duncan and Robinson and Ginobili and Parker. This is incredible what he's done. Because so many different coaches. This isn't Phil Jackson. Like, so many great coaches are at the top of this list. Yeah. But just look at their rosters. I'd go as far as to say that Rick Carlisle is better than all of them.
Yeah,
You can make an argument, I would say.
Would they be considered would he be considered the NBA version of Rick Pitino? In this space, like everywhere he's gone, he's won.
Yeah.
Everywhere he's gone, no matter what the team is, he's found ways to win. He's found ways to get to the Final Four. He's found ways to win a national championship. I just think that was what were you laughing
Anson
at?
says JJ Barea was the difference maker.
JJ's like 5'5",
I love it.
making it happen. But yeah, I was trying to think about his totality because he did have a long lapse in terms of when he was when he had a good team or not. I don't know. Eric Spoelstra's the only guy that I put up there.
He's Shaq and Wade. And Shaq was, I mean.
Yeah, but Shaq was older. Spo took 2 finals teams in the last 7 years that had no business in the finals.
was great too.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the only guy that I would.
But again, it's been one location. He's been at the same location for like 20 years too, so he could do it there. Like I think the movement from Carlisle to do it in multiple different places in multiple eras.
Outside of Jimmy Butler, tell me somebody else that was on one of them Eric Spoel's last finals teams.
Yeah.
Tell me a player.
Udonis.
He doesn't count, but
Duncan
yes.
Robinson. I mean, Spoelstra's great.
Strus.
Right.
Max Strus.
No, okay, he's great.
Yeah.
Spoelstra, great. But I'm just saying you have to take into account too with Carlisle the fact that he's done it in 4 different.
I agree. I was just saying I only can name one person to make you make sense.
In 3 different decades too.
So now you make him better than Pop but Pop to your.
I do make him better than Pop.
Okay.
Never won without a
Who has?
Well, I mean, I think Larry Brown would have an argument with that 04 team.
Ooh.
I mean, they ultimately became Hall of Famers, but,
To your point, they didn't have a guy that you...
When those guys were playing basketball,
Nobody was a Hall of Famer.
Nobody was like, there's a Hall of Famer.
That's fair. Mm-hmm.
Now, their accomplishments afterwards, you're like, oh, they're a Hall of Famer. But we know, you could watch these guys play right now in the NBA, you're like, this is a Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer.
Okay, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
They were just a phenomenal team. I told you, I always
Steve
compared
Kerr?
them. Yeah, to the 73
I think it's
Knicks
better
in
than Steve Kerr.
Yes.
Steve Kerr has been blessed
Yes.
with phenomenal players. Yeah, he's a good coach, and they like him. But I do think Rick Carlisle is probably better than him.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. Talking about the Rick Carlisle look at Jim Carrey look. No, I mean, and there's something to it. At the end of the day, he's old school basketball. Like, everybody has to play defenses, both sides of the ball. Like, everybody has to play their role, fit into the existence. And even a superstar has to be held accountable. And that's what he's done everywhere he's been. He's played with older, more veteran players. But this young team, when you have guys like Pascal Siakam, like I said, has been in the league 9 years, won a championship. Like, this is a veteran player to add that. Miles Turner is no longer a young player. Could Miles Turner be a guy that the Pistons are looking at? I don't know.
Sounds like it. Guys, a couple of different NFL notes to get to, and, of course, the Stanley Cup Final. But first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Les Stanford Buick GMC, great offers for everyone. How about a 2025 Envision Preferred all-wheel drive, only $259 per month. Try out the 2025 Sierra Double Cab Elevation, only $169 per month. Don't forget about that 2025 Hummer EV SUV, $699 per month. Go to Les Stanford today. Check out their massive inventory. Press and hold that QR code. Their inventory will pop up right there. Just click on that button. Les Stanford Buick GMC. LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com.
Together, let's drive.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak? Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Belegian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media, X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media. And we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
It's part beauty, part beast. It's for those who dare to be different, for those who want to stand out, and for those who are built for more. The all-new Ineos Grenadier combines strength and style for an unmatched driving experience. Sold exclusively at Feldman Ineos of Waterford.
Head to Woodward Sports WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
My favorite time of the show, guys. You know what time it is. Scan that QR code above my head. Use that code word over there, Woodward1000. Open up your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account. When you do so, make your first deposit and your first bet of $20 or more. If that first bet happens to lose, you get your first bet back as a bonus bet up to $1,000, but only if you scan that QR code above my head. Use that code word over there, Woodward1000, to open up your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account. Gentlemen.
Welcome back. Final segment of the program. Maz, I know you're excited for the Stanley Cup final.
I think I'm the only one.
Yeah.
No, there's hockey fans that are loving this one. It's the rematch, guys. First time since the Penguins and the Red Wings. It's going to be a great one. The Oilers representing Canada and the Western Conference trying to win their first Stanley Cup in a long time. The first for Canada since '93. And the Panthers there for a third straight year. They won last year. They lost 2 years ago. They're trying to win back-to-back. It's the sixth straight Florida team from the state of Florida to be in the finals, to represent the East. 3 for the Lightning, 3 for the Panthers. Last year it went 7. Connor McDavid was despondent after that series, and he has willed this team back to the final again. And I really hope it's like last year's. I believe the Oilers are a pretty good favorite in this one.
Really?
I do. I believe that this guy is going to be off the hook in this series. If you really want to watch the Wayne Gretzky of this era, turn this series on. It starts Wednesday night on TNT. It's the Oilers and it's the Panthers. It should be a dandy.
I'm kind of all in on this, and I hate to say this, but I want Edmonton to win it.
You better.
I want the Oilers to win it. I think it'd be great for hockey. It'd be great for the league. It'll be great for Connor McDavid. I do think your best players have to win championships, and Connor McDavid makes the league better. Connor McDavid winning a Stanley Cup makes the league better. And for the strength of the league, I'll say Edmonton.
Yeah, no, 100%. That was a struggle in the NBA for so long. Is outside of Steph and LeBron, you got all these players you're calling. These are the guys that can't win championships. So, yeah, I want to see it. He's been the guy. DJ Tom T put me on Connor McDavid.
How's he doing?
T.
I ran into him literally. I was leaving.
He's a Leafs fan.
I was leaving.
The Oilers for?
He's
a Canadian.
No, don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be the guy that answers and gets mad at you for being. Tom is a hockey guy.
I know he is.
He's a Maple Leafs guy, but he loves hockey.
Yeah.
Connor
He lived in
McDavid
New
is
York.
the best in hockey.
Yeah.
So, he respects him. But saw him, I was leaving out. He was walking in. But he put me on Connor McDavid. When your stars can win, it makes the sports better. Now you can say, oh, yeah, he is the greatest. And then you can let it fall.
I want the Panthers to win.
I called the Panthers last year. So I already used because I had them winning the last 2 years in a row. They blew it 2 years ago.
I
They blew
root
it
for
3
Florida,
years ago.
but I ain't going to cry if the Oilers win.
Like you said, your best players in the league need to win championships. So sign him up.
I think I'm the opposite. I want the Oilers, but I'm not going to cry if Florida wins.
Sure.
Because that also is good.
It's a very
when you
good
have
series.
Back-to-back champions.
And you're playing keep away from Canada still. It's kind of funny.
We got a 20-second hockey update. I don't think anybody is crying for either one of these teams winning or losing.
There you go. That's good.
Flaherty goes tonight for the
Great.
Tigers. He's been pitching better and better the last 3 weeks. So I'm hoping Flaherty can go long tonight against the White Sox.
Did you see Lynn's article today in the Detroit
I didn't
News?
read it yet. What did he say?
He wrote an article about Chris Getz.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You commented on that.
I did comment on it.
Yes, you did.
I did comment on it.
And I know Chris Getz is a buddy of yours. And let's say, you know what? He's going to be off the hook this year because the Colorado Rockies are going to be passing the White Sox for
they're
the worst record in the history of baseball.
Horribly.
They're 9-50.
I know.
It's horrible.
That's wild.
It's utterly, it's incomprehensible that you could lose
How does that happen?
41 of your first 50 games.
Oh, how?
Here's a question for everybody but Pete, because I already know what the answer is going to be for Pete, based off the weekend. Would you rather be a Grand Prix driver, or you rather be a jockey?
Grand Prix driver.
For the big three. I'm not just saying do horse racing at Northville Downs. I'm talking about.
You're more protected in the car.
Yes.
Than if you're flying off that horse.
I saw four crashes at the Detroit Grand Prix.
All 4 walked out probably.
Right. And you don't have to be 4'11".
I'm
sorry.
And eat a peanut.
You guys
half
look.
a peanut.
You guys are looking to more of the literal concept versus.
Okay.
Would you rather ride the horse in that race, or would you rather drive a car? Well, if it's a horse,
I'm gonna drive a car and save a couple.
some
I'm
people
gonna drive the car.
Okay.
Listen,
Drive the car.
I want to be 100 pounds and ride that horse.
I knew what the answer was. I know what you're. I want sign me up for the horse. Sign me up like Maz. You guys came in
How
after
exciting.
Exactly, and that's where I was going. You're talking about that excitement. Also, too, I'm not trying to drive for 4 hours and 400 laps.
Boring.
Around the same freaking
get
thing.
dizzy.
Sign me up for the 2 laps or the 2.5 laps.
a lot more
whatever.
to it than that.
Sign me up for the horse racing. I'd much rather
in
do a
the car,
Kentucky
baby.
Derby than
a lot
an
more.
Indy 500 or Formula One or NASCAR.
It's great stuff, man. So Tigers tonight. You've got, we're getting into the summer months now where you really just do have Tigers.
That's it.
Pretty much.
You've got NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Final. And by the way, I always say this every year.
They start a week too late.
Why is it the NBA Finals, but the Stanley Cup
Final?
You got me, man. I couldn't answer that. They don't even call them the NBA Finals anymore. They just call them the Finals.
No.
Oh yeah,
The
that's so
finals.
dumb.
It's because it's plural. Like final is 1, and like they play 7 games, 4 minimum. They play potentially 7 at max. This games, it's the final games, as opposed to Super Bowl. That's it. It's one thing. It's a final.
The
It's
way
a
they
finale.
name them doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
The way they play them matters to me. To not have a game over the weekend, like to not have the Stanley Cup Final start on Sunday.
Good call.
Right.
I'm waiting till Wednesday and Thursday to start this thing.
Stupid.
I forgot already.
Right.
You got to rev
It's
it
like
up
the
again.
college football playoff.
Yeah.
College football national
I don't want to
championship.
rev it up again. I want to keep going.
I think they want to make sure that they have NBA Finals games the weekend of Father's Day. If you start right now, like you get a sweep, it doesn't make it to Finals Day. One of the biggest things in terms of, for me, the NBA Finals, I always think about when Jordan lost his dad and then won the finals literally the next year on Father's Day. So I think Father's Day has something major to do with it. I'll say it's money, but I think it's Father's Day. Every year it goes into Father's Day weekend, Father's Day Sunday. If you start now, shoot, you get 5 games before the following Sunday. There's no weekend. There's no Father's Day weekend for the NBA.
Did you guys see how TNT ended their coverage?
Yeah, I had goosebumps.
They did.
Yeah.
Ernie Johnson, Kevin Harlan did awesome signing off as the play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And then he throw it to the studio, and you got those guys. You got Ernie. You got Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're staying together, but they go to ESPN. TNT, they carried the torch from NBC
Yeah.
for the NBA. And the NBA, of course, just like all the other leagues, they have no loyalty. Their loyalty is the green. And you're going to see games on Prime. You're going to see games on Netflix. You're going to see games on NBC. You're going to see games on ESPN, ABC. They're all over the board. But TNT, you can always depend that, okay, I'm going to TNT and Ernie Johnson is going to take me through the night. And I feel bad that they canned them. It sucks.
Kind of like back in the day, though, when they canned Ahmad Rashad and that whole crew.
Yep.
They couldn't wait to fire Amon-Ra Rashad.
Hey,
he only had a job because of one person.
Michael Jordan.
Hey, Bray,
Jordan said, I ain't talking to nobody but Amon-Ra Rashad.
Bray, real quick, you were bringing up how Michael Jordan, still played
Yes,
after
go
his father.
ahead.
Did you guys see what happened? Hear what happened over the weekend. Ellie De La Cruz lost his sister on Saturday. Still played in the game, and then on Sunday hits a frickin' now Reds lost. They were in Chicago, but hit a frickin' gigantic home run and pointed to the sky. It was just for me, I enjoyed watching that.
My goodness.
That was cool. He still hit the home run for his sister.
Cubs are coming here this weekend.
Yep.
Hey, Cubs and Tigers this weekend.
Who would have thought?
I'll
Two
be
best
there. I
teams
think
in
so.
How about
Two
that?
of the best. Wouldn't that be a series? We wanted it in '84.
Should have been.
Should have been in
Leon
84.
Durham. What did you do?
The Padres.
Come on, Bull.
Come on, Bull.
Come on, ball.
The Padres?
Turned out to be great. He don't want to walk you, though.
No.
I
It
wouldn't
became
trade that
epic.
for nothing.
It became epic.
He don't want to walk you.
He don't want
Ray?
to walk you.
Get us out of here, big guy.
We appreciate you guys tuning into us, man, on this Monday, man. Sorry Frank Ragnow retired, but look, it is just the beginning. Guarantee we'll have some more news, more notes coming out of Allen Park. I think Dan Campbell will give you guys something to pump the brakes, or us, I should say, and relax about. So we'll see what that is, man. But we got more in store this week. Enjoy the weather. Everybody was complaining about the weather last week. It's getting better. For Ryan Ermanni, Tom Mazza, Ricky Burns, Pete Spivak, we are Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, and we will see you tomorrow.